Welcome to this podcast. This is Howie Carr, host of the Howie Carr Radio Network, and with me today is Ryan Derda. He's the Vice President of American Independence Gold, and we're here to discuss your financial investment needs moving forward in this tumultuous market. Ryan, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Network.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Howie. I appreciate it.
So, Ryan, as the Vice President of American Independence Gold, what is your view on the current financial climate in the United States and worldwide?
That's a great question, and I'm going to answer that by saying it's not just my view, but I would say a view of the collective. When I say that, we're hearing, reports from market analysts almost every week of a pending stock market crash. Numbers ranging from 20% all the way to 50%, and that 50% number is coming to us actually directly through the Treasury market. So no matter how you look at it, across the board, I would say that it's imminent, and be it that it's imminent, I definitely believe that it's time that people should be looking to protect themselves. As I've said before, you don't buy fire insurance after the house is burned.
So what is the government's role in financial stability, or in the case of the last few years, instability, Ryan?
Well, I think I would clarify that a little bit in saying that when we look in terms of financial stability, it's put more on the back of the Federal Reserve Bank. And the Federal Reserve, number one, is not federal, and they don't have any reserves. However, they do have a target of 2% inflation, and as well as keeping unemployment at low levels. So those are the Fed's targets. So those are the tools in which they'll use to cool down or speed up the economy. And unfortunately, with the Fed's background and history, they always get it wrong. They're always late to the party. And as a result of it, in my belief, it's the Federal Reserve that actually is the one that causes us to have these extreme market crashes, as well as the recessions that we face. And I genuinely believe that if the Fed were to simply get out of the way and allow free market capitalism to work and operate as it's designed to operate, we get much more of a medium to the economy, right? There's natural ebbs and flows in free market capitalism. If prices come too high, the cure for high prices, as they say, is always high prices. So the prices tend to come down and cool off. If prices are too low, competitors come onto the market, and by competitors coming onto the market, that naturally then begins to drive consumers to have choices on their options. So again, I think if we would just simply allow the markets to do what the markets do without Fed intervention, we'd probably be much better off. And then in terms of, government, I would say that, the government's role is military protection of our country. And as you well know, right now we've got, a completely open border where we've got mass illegal immigration being run by the cartels, military-age men flooding our country. I genuinely believe that we have, numerous sleeper cells that are organizing inside of our country. We've had ISIS terrorists that have been known ISIS terrorists that have crossed our border. Multiple military-age men from China that have crossed our border. So it's I believe in terms of in terms of the government's role, that's their role.
Yeah, their role is to, like you say, guard the borders, roads, and courts. That's the way the founding fathers saw it. But they've expanded their role, and they've generally screwed up everything. As Ronald Reagan said, the nine most false words in the English language are "we're here from the government and we're here to help you," and that's the lesson of the last 3.5 years, I think.
Yes,
So
sir.
it behooves people to not put their trust in financial instruments that are propped up by this crazy government, and to get into precious metals, which have traditionally through history been a bulwark of people's planning to deal with the vicissitudes of government mismanagement. So Ryan Derda, why don't you tell us about your veteran special at American Independence Gold?
Absolutely. So we are a veteran-owned company. Therefore, we want to make sure that we want to take care of those who have served and the family of those who have served our country. So with that, whenever we have a veteran that wants to either purchase physical gold and silver inside a qualified account or outside of a qualified account, we do make sure that we take care of the fees that are associated with any kind of storage or account opening procedures that are charged in terms of getting an account open with a qualified account. For those that make purchases that are not in a qualified account but don't necessarily want to have a large value of metals sitting at their home, we do offer private vault storage services where we will also cover those fees for our veterans.
And you have those storage services are available across the country.
All across the country.
There's one in there is a storage service in Delaware for the East Coast, for instance.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And then again, all across the country, whether they're East Coast, whether they're Central, whether they're on the western half of the country, there's plenty of vault storage services available for anyone in any locale.
Now we've all seen the photographs from the Weimar Republic in Germany, taking the wheelbarrows full of cash to a grocery store to buy a loaf of bread. I mean, it's happened more recently in Juan Perón's Argentina, Zimbabwe under Robert Mugabe. I mean, there's just this sort of rampant printing of money always invariably leads to a fiscal disaster for the economy and for the people who live there. So, Ryan Derda, why don't you just give us a little refresher course on why metals are a stable asset in these times of turmoil?
Absolutely. So I'm actually glad that you brought up the fact of hyperinflationary currencies in the past. In my 18 years now, almost 19 years of being in the financial services industry, that became my focus of study over the years was monetary history. And one of the greatest lessons I ever learned was gold and silver are money. They're not currency. And that's one of the most valuable lessons that I think I've been able to offer and teach to clients over the years is the difference between the two, right? And I like to give an acronym. Most people are familiar with a PDF file, right? So I tell people simply remember PDF and you'll understand the difference between money versus currency. So both money and currency are a medium of exchange. They're also portable, durable, divisible, and fungible. So they share those same qualities and attributes. However, only money is a store of value over time. Gold and silver are the only thing over the last 5,000 years that have maintained the definition of being a store of value over time. Versus currencies, there have been thousands of fiat currencies prior to the US dollar. Every single one of them has ultimately gone to zero. So the US dollar, in its current state as a fiat currency, not backed by anything other than the United States government's promise to pay its debt, which the United States has defaulted on its debt promises 4 times historically, the US dollar is not immune to this complete devaluing of the currency. And if we were to actually value the purchasing power of the dollar today relative to gold, the U.S. dollar has lost 99% of its purchasing power relative to the value of gold.
Yeah, there used to be a joke in the South: "Save your Confederate money, boys. The South will rise again." And I mean, the way things are going, that may soon be a joke about the United States currency as well. And as you say, that's what's happened traditionally in culture after culture, economy after economy. Now, so what are the pros and cons of metal investing?
Well, I guess we'll start with the cons. For some people, they're under the assumption that sometimes metals are difficult to acquire. However, in today's world, especially with now the advent of the internet, we're globally connected everywhere. Purchasing metal has become quite easy. Just in the past, people were more attuned to finding a local dealer or maybe a pawn shop or just a private individual sale. However, in today's world, we're way beyond that, where it's very easy for us to now be connected to multiple wholesalers all across the country to be able to acquire metals and bring our clients the best deals. Another con, and this has just become an industry practice, which is now, I would say, is being thwarted, is that quite often there have been, I should say, unscrupulous companies that have charged excessive premiums on metal. Whereas, for example, right now we have gold bars that we can get for 2% over the spot price, right? Whereas I've heard, premiums as high as 50 to 60% above the spot price. And again, these are just unscrupulous dealers taking advantage of people's lack of knowledge to the industry. On the sell side, that's something else that people, I guess, in the past have considered a challenge. I heard the gentleman say to me, I think it was about a week ago, that he was informed by his financial advisor that it's hard to sell. So I informed the gentleman that gold and silver are actually the most liquid assets in the entire world, because gold and silver are literally the only thing you can take anywhere in this world. I don't care what country you go to, you can sell your gold and silver for their local currency. So it is the most liquid asset in the entire world. Secondly, gold is classified by the global central banks as a tier 1 asset, which means it's considered to be the safest, most stable asset that you can own in your portfolio and or that the banks will hold on their balance sheet. So if we look at it in terms of, if the global central banks consider gold to be the safest, most stable asset they can hold on their balance sheet, liquidity is most certainly not an issue, right? And with our clients, we do have a buyback commitment where they never have to look for a buyer at the time when they're looking to sell gold or silver in their portfolio. Now, it's something that we do also recommend that our clients hold for a 3 to 5 year period at least. More often, 7 to 10 years would be the better recommendation, because it is an asset that you're not trying to day trade. It is an asset that you're looking to hold for wealth preservation purposes. And then to finish answering your question in terms of pros, I would say first and foremost, safety and stability, right? And again, I'll focus my attention there on gold, that if the global central banks label gold as the safest thing that they'll hold on their balance sheet and or you can hold in your portfolio, I think it's an absolute must that everybody should own gold in their portfolio at a minimum for the wealth preservation and hedge purposes. That quite often to clients, you don't buy gold to get rich, buy gold to stay rich.
Now, suppose the United States pulls out of the tailspin that it's been in the last 3.5 years and we return to low inflation, peace, and prosperity. Is that going to affect the price of gold?
Again, great question. Gold prices and silver prices, they're not immune to market conditions, right? But what we don't see in gold, again, specifically, because it's a tier one asset considered safe and stable, is we don't see the major volatility swings that we see in other risk assets. So we don't see, major volatility swings in gold like we would see in Bitcoin. We don't see major volatility asset swings in gold like we see in, the Magnificent Seven, tech stocks, things of those sorts. Right. So when there are times of low inflation, when there are times of, currency injection by the Federal Reserve into the markets, because there's a low cost of borrowing those assets, those are the things that drive our stock markets to new all-time highs. And that's where we'll see a stabling or a leveling off of gold price. I think we're a ways away from that.
Yeah, unfortunately, it took after Reagan's election, it took years to get the economy back straightened out, and it's going to take, even if Trump's elected, it's going to take a while to get everything back under control again. So, Ryan Derda, this has been very interesting. So, how can my listeners contact you and American Independence Gold?
It's very easy, Howie. All we have to do is have your clients go to howiecargold.com. That's howiecargold.com, and that will get them in touch with either myself or any of our qualified representatives to help them.
Ryan Derda, thanks for being with us from American Independence Gold. It's the company I choose for my wealth preservation. It's more imperative than ever to try to preserve your wealth. You need to invest in precious metals. Thank you for being with us, Ryan Derda, and I encourage my listeners to go to learn more about American Independence Gold at howiecargold.com. And there are other places they can go to find out more information as well, Ryan, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct. Our customers can call our toll-free number at 844-714-4653. Or they can visit us on the web at AmericanIndependenceGold.com.